and another episode of So You Want to Be a Storyteller. I've realized something very uncomfortable. I'm the villain in somebody else's story. And there's a good chance you are too. Hear me out. As writers and as actors, we spend so much time trying to understand villains. We research them, we humanize them, we ask, how did they become this way? And the funny thing is, the more I wrote, in particular villains, the more I realized I've probably been one too. Not because I woke up trying to hurt someone, but because at the time, every decision I've ever made sense to me, and maybe not to the other person on the receiving end. Let's start with the traditional idea of a villain, the obvious kind. The villain in my psychological thriller, it's a spec script, Hazel, trigger warning, he's a human trafficker. On and off the page, he's a monster. But I couldn't write him as just evil because monsters are usually made, not born. At least that's what I believe personally. I'm sure there's a debate to be had there. But I found myself asking, what happened to him? Who failed him? What tiny pieces of humanity still survived underneath everything he'd become? And weirdly, that's when he became very interesting. Now, don't get me wrong, his behavior is unforgivable. And in my humble opinion, he's the worst kind of human being imaginable. And as an audience member, I absolutely judge him. He earned his ending, like, yuck. But as the writer, I had to understand him before I could write him. Not excuse him, underline that, not excuse him, understand him. His backstory is heartbreaking. And that's the strange thing about storytelling. Sometimes a hero and a villain begins with the very same wound. One rises from the ashes, becomes the hero, and the other becomes the very darkness they endured, the villain. But now let's bring it a little closer to home, and most likely all of us.